Student Loans 101, a video by Karthik. This is Frank, a high school senior ready to apply to college. He's heard of the dangers of four-year universities. His mom, grandma, and even his dog told him that college was more expensive than buying 5 mansions. Why were they so concerned? Because if Frank's family can't pay Frank's tuition, Frank may be crushed under the weight of student loans. In the US, the cost of attending four-year universities has become astronomical. On average, in-state public colleges afford tuitions of roughly $10,000 per year. Throw in room and board, transportation, books, and more, and the cost increases to about $25,000. Private universities are often even pricier. Many students don't want to sacrifice their dreams of attending top-flight schools, and that's perfectly understandable. After all, going to an elite college may open up fantastic job opportunities in the future. However, the way that students pay for these schools has taken a turn for the worse. Let's get back to Frank. A lot of his close friends are currently enrolled in private universities, but their families didn't have the means to pay the tuition. When Frank asked them how they paid for college, they all had the same answer. They took out student loans. Simply put, faced with the prospect of not attending their favorite universities, Frank's friends caved under the pressure, choosing to borrow excessive amounts of money to make their dreams a reality. Unfortunately, this situation is all too common. Today, about 43 million Americans possess a federal student loan, collectively owing $1.5 trillion. Add in private student loans and roughly $119 billion get tacked on. With interest continually added to the original amount, it takes on average 20 horrific years for borrowers to repay federal student loans. But I get it. It seems like everyone's going to a four-year university, so don't you have to swallow the pain, take out loans, and deal with the consequences later? The answer is a big, fat no. There are several key steps you can take to avoid student loans, if not take them out of the picture entirely. Frank doesn't know where to start, so let's rewind to when he was 5 years old. If Frank's family had been saving for college since then, it'd make life much simpler. Through the power of compounding, their savings could pay for his entire tuition by now. If you're still a few years from applying to college, start saving right away. Savings accounts work perfectly, but 529 plans are great too. 529 plans differ from savings accounts in that they are often run by universities or states and are specifically aimed at helping students afford college. As such, they offer key tax advantages like not having to pay federal taxes on earnings. However, unlike savings accounts, these plans may have contribution limits, which could hurt students who want to save a lot in a year. Fast forward to freshman year of high school, and Frank can take another crucial step forward. Rather than signing up for every club on the surface of the earth, Frank should find a few activities that he loves. Perhaps he discovers that he's an excellent soccer player. Coupled with a willingness to work hard in school, Frank could be in line to receive an athletic scholarship that covers all of his college expenses. Grants and scholarships like these reward success in high school, and they frequently make college much cheaper than expected. But of course, not everyone can be an athlete. Moreover, even students with perfect grades and testing scores may not receive scholarship offers that come close to meeting their families' financial needs. Now, let's get back to Frank's present day as a high school senior. Say his family had barely saved anything for college, and Frank's prospects for paying tuition are bleak. Should he turn to student loans now? The answer is still no. First, Frank should fill out the free application for Federal Student Aid, or FAFSA, to see if he can receive any need-based financial aid. Regardless of what school he applies to, Frank should submit this form, as it's specifically for federal aid and allows him to attain federal grants and scholarships. However, the FAFSA isn't just used by the federal government. Instead, it's sent to each school Frank applies to, and these universities can use it to determine how much financial assistance Frank will need. Let's say Frank's family income was relatively high. He should still submit the FAFSA even if he thinks he won't receive aid, because 1, he can never say with certainty that he'll get no aid, and 2, the form helps colleges gain more information about his financial standing. The sooner Frank files his FAFSA, the better his chances of receiving aid, as colleges only have finite financial resources. Frank will receive a SAR or Student Aid Report a couple of days after turning in his FAFSA. It will not inform him of how much aid he will be receiving. Rather, it contains an EFC, or Expected Family Contribution. This figure gives a rough estimate of how much Frank's family will wind up paying towards his college education. Colleges utilize this EFC to decide how much aid Frank will need each year. Keep in mind that financial aid is still received while students are in college. so Frank and his family will have to fill out the FAFSA every year in college as well. After filing the FAFSA in the fall of senior year and working through the grueling application season, Frank can further reduce his college costs. Taking up a job like babysitting or tutoring in the after-school hours or over the weekends can give Frank a great head start to help his family afford tuition. As always, saving sizable portions of his paychecks can make his money grow faster. Next, Frank should apply for as many private scholarships as possible. Scholarships aren't just given by universities. Companies, elementary schools, nonprofits, and more all offer opportunities for students to earn money that will ease the burden of tuition. Finding scholarship opportunities may seem daunting, but it really shouldn't be that difficult. Several online databases put these opportunities into one easy-to-access website. Big Future and FastWeb are both great resources through which students can scroll through scholarships that match their academic and financial profiles. Feel free to pause the video to bookmark the sites as you please. Finally, Frank is in the second semester of his senior year and has received admissions decisions for all the universities he applied to. However, he's faced with a dilemma. His top choice school accepted him, but he can't afford it. He's applied for need-based financial aid and for more scholarships than he can count. Unfortunately, his family just didn't start saving early enough. Nevertheless, with scholarships and significant amounts of aid in tow, he can manage to foot the bill with the salary he makes from his job. Continuing to work in college can help him fully cover tuition. But say even with all of this going for him, Frank just can't afford his top choice school. At this point, he has three options. The first is to attend a community college. By doing so, he can save an immense amount of money in his first 2 years of college, and then transfer into his top choice school with several college credits and a stable financial foundation under his belt. The second is to attend another school that accepted him. If the choice comes down to an expensive top choice and a full-ride scholarship to a state school, Frank should attend a state school, no questions asked. The cost of taking out student loans just isn't worth it. After all, if he really wants to attend the top choice university, he can go there for graduate school if necessary. Finally, as a last resort, he should consider a federal student loan. There are several red flags to touch on here first. Only if the amount needed to be borrowed is a small fraction of the tuition should this option be considered. Without scholarships or financial aid, Frank shouldn't give taking on loans a second thought. Next, Frank has to keep in mind that student loans can hurt his credit score. This credit score will determine how willing lenders will be in the future to loan him money to purchase a house or car. Furthermore, Frank should avoid private student loans at all costs. Federal student loans often cap how much students can borrow, offer repayment programs that make life much simpler, and may even give students a chance to defer their loans in special circumstances. Private loans typically do not come close to meeting these advantages, and as such should be avoided. With all of these factors in mind, Frank can cautiously take out a small federal student loan and pay careful attention to the repayment plan he has selected. If he sticks to a budget while in college, he'll be debt-free in just a few years. But as always, anything is better than student loans, unless the amount being borrowed is incredibly small and comes with a strict repayment schedule. Frank should choose any other alternative, whether it be state school or community college. Thanks for watching. I hope you follow in Frank's footsteps and evade the claws of student loan debt. Together, we can make student loan debt a thing of the past.